I want you to just imagine for a second that you're using your entire body weight to brace a heavy, solid oak door shut.
Right, just pushing with everything you've got.
Yeah, exactly. And you are just terrified that someone on the other side is going to barge in at any second.
Mm-hmm.
Your shoulders are burning, your legs are trembling, and you've been holding this exact position for years,
Wow.
So long that the exhaustion just feels like your baseline reality.
It's just normal to you now.
Right. And then suddenly someone taps you on the shoulder and shows you a picture. And the entire building on the other side of that door has just been demolished.
It's gone.
There's no one pushing back. You can just drop your arms.
That's a really powerful image.
Yeah. So welcome to this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Because today, our source material is this intensely personal, just incredibly raw firsthand account titled The Bitter Freedom of a Final Farewell.
And it is a truly remarkable piece of primary source documentation. I mean, we're looking at a short but overwhelmingly dense narrative from an individual
Who we'll just refer to as the original poster, or OP.
Right, the OP. And it's detailing the exact morning they received news that their estranged mother had passed away.
Yeah. And our mission for you today, for the listener, is highly specific. Like, we are not here to play judge or jury on a family feud.
No.
We aren't taking sides. We aren't trying to figure out who started what. The goal is to explore the anatomy of a very specific, heavily taboo type of grief.
A kind of grief where the overwhelming dominant emotion isn't sadness at all.
No, it's a wild, almost manic sense of relief.
Right.
And as we explore that feeling, we're going to deeply analyze this fascinating, highly manipulative text message that actually delivered this news to the OP.
Because, society provides us with a very rigid, predetermined script for how we are supposedly meant to react to death.
Yeah, like you're supposed to just be devastated.
Exactly. The script says we weep, we seek closure, we forgive.
Speak only well of the dead.
Right. Always. But human relationships, and especially estranged ones, are incredibly messy. And they completely defy those neat little scripts.
They really do.
What this account gives us is permission to examine the unvarnished reality of complex family dynamics when that ultimate finality hits.
So let's start right at the moment of impact. The OP gets the news on a Thursday morning, literally as they are walking out the door for work.
Thursday morning, just a normal day.
Right. And a detail that stood out to me immediately is that they still went to work.
Yeah, that's telling.
They note that they had, quote, a few tears that morning. But then the narrative abruptly shifts. The OP writes, and this is a quote, "Then it clicked, I'm free."
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah. And they start listing the specific anxieties that just vanished into thin air. They write, "I'm free of being fearful of running into her when out and about."
The grocery store anxiety.
Yes, exactly. And this next one really hit me. They said, "I'm free of the will I won't I anxiety if I get offered to see her on her deathbed."
That is a very real, heavy anxiety for estranged children.
I can imagine. And they conclude that thought by saying, "I am so happy it feels manic."
Manic.
Yeah, which makes me think, if I finally drop that heavy door we talked about earlier, I shouldn't feel guilty. I should just feel tired, maybe a little relieved.
Mm.
So why does the OP describe this happiness as manic? Is that like a glitch in the brain?
A glitch.
Yeah, like a trauma response where the wiring just completely shorts out because the stress vanishes too fast.
Well, it's not a glitch at all, actually. We are looking at a massive neurochemical shift here.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense when you understand the biology of estrangement.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So estrangement is not a passive void. It isn't simply an absence of a relationship. It is an active, ongoing state of hypervigilance.
You're constantly on guard.
Exactly. The OP's brain has been bathed in low-level cortisol and adrenaline for years, just constantly scanning the environment for threats.
Like the fear of running into her at the store.
Right. Or the looming dread of a deathbed summons. When the mother passes away, that threat level instantly, unnegotiably, drops to zero.
So the defense system is just suddenly unemployed.
That's a great way to put it. Which leaves the brain with a tremendous surplus of energy that was previously dedicated to maintaining those boundaries.
Oh, I see.
It feels manic because that physical energy suddenly has nowhere to go.
That makes so much sense.
And the guilt the OP might feel, or, the taboo nature of this joy, stems from a clinical concept called disenfranchised grief.
Disenfranchised grief, meaning grief that society doesn't accept.
Exactly. This is a type of grief that society doesn't validate. We're told that relief equals a lack of love or some sort of moral failing.
Right.
But the biological reality here is that the OP isn't necessarily celebrating the loss of a human life. They are celebrating the death of a persistent psychological threat.
Wow. Okay, so that sudden drop in cortisol makes perfect sense in a vacuum.
It does.
But, and this is where it gets crazy, the OP didn't experience this realization in a vacuum.
No, they didn't.
It was forced on them by an external catalyst that, honestly, actively seemed designed to spike that cortisol right back up.
Yes. The text message.
The news was delivered via a text message from their stepdad. And you guys, reading this text message is a wild ride.
It really is something.
It starts off ostensibly as like a formal informational update. He notes that the OP and the mother were not on good terms, but says, quote, "Considering this circumstance, I want to let you know that your mom passed away on May 12th peacefully from bowel complications due to the cancer at the local hospital."
Which is a seemingly standard notification of death.
Yeah, totally normal.
It provides the date, the specific cause, the location, and characterizes the passing with the comforting word peacefully.
Right, so it lulls you into thinking this is just a standard, difficult family communication.
Exactly.
But the very next sentence is this jarring left turn. He writes, "In time, I would hope that you could find it in your heart to forgive your mom, especially even though she could not find it in her heart to forgive you."
It's just breathtaking.
I have to stop here. Like, wait, let's unpack that sentence. Is it possible he's just a grieving, clueless guy who doesn't know how to phrase a text message?
I highly doubt that.
Right. Because delivering a death notification and slipping in a reminder that the dead mother never forgave the OP, it feels like an incredibly sharp knife to twist from the grave.
Oh, absolutely. The structural mechanics of that sentence heavily point toward calculated passive-aggressive communication.
How so?
Look at how he positions himself. He adopts the role of the benevolent peacemaker, saying, "I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive."
So he's taking the high road.
Exactly. He attempts to claim the moral high ground for himself, but he inextricably links it to a posthumous rejection. She could not find it in her heart to forgive you.
Oh my gosh, it's like wrapping a brick in a Hallmark card.
That is exactly what it is. In the field of psychology, we use the term family homeostasis to describe this.
Family homeostasis.
Yes. Toxic or enmeshed family systems have a status quo, a narrative balance they fiercely protect.
Oh, so everyone has their assigned role.
Precisely. In this family's narrative, the mother was likely positioned as the aggrieved, righteous victim, and the estranged OP was the villain.
Right.
And even though the mother is gone, the stepdad is acting as the enforcer of that homeostasis.
He has to keep the story going.
Right. He is using the veneer of a peaceful passing and a lofty call for spiritual forgiveness to actually cement the mother's narrative. He ensures that she gets the last word and that the last word is absolute rejection.
The enforcer of the homeostasis. That perfectly explains what happens next, actually.
Yes, the escalation.
Because the text message doesn't stop at emotional guilt. It escalates into these bizarre medical warnings and strict demands for public silence.
It's very strange here.
The stepdad writes, quote, "It serves no earthly reason or good to hold such bitterness and contempt in your heart. It will only serve as a catalyst in developing diseases in your own body down the road."
Just incredible.
And he tries to legitimize this by claiming the mother admitted this exact thing to him while fighting cancer for the last 18 months. I mean, if you are listening to this and you've ever had a toxic person try to blame a physical illness on your mindset, you know exactly how insidious this is.
It is so damaging.
He's literally telling the OP that if they don't comply and forgive, they're going to give themselves cancer.
Yes. This is a recognized manipulation tactic known as somatic blaming,
Somatic blaming.
or the weaponization of health. He is taking a complex, devastating biological disease, cancer, and reframing it as a moral failing caused by negative emotions.
It's just so cruel.
It really is. He's essentially saying, your mother's bitterness caused her fatal illness, and if you don't drop your boundaries, you will inflict the same biological punishment on yourself.
Wow.
It is pseudoscientific blackmail, and it's designed to induce pure terror.
It's repulsive. That's what it is. And right after delivering this medical threat, he pivots again.
A complete 180.
Yeah, this time into absolute panic about optics. He hits caps lock and writes, "Please, please, please, let's no social media posts about your mom's death or your feelings toward her. Let's keep this a private matter between family."
All caps, the desperation is palpable.
Right. He goes on to claim the family has been hurt enough by this feud and says, "Now it is time to heal. Let's stop it right now," with like 3 exclamation points.
Mm-hmm.
This reads less like a grieving husband and more like a corporate PR crisis manager trying to get out ahead of a bad news cycle.
That's a very accurate comparison.
Why are they so terrified of a Facebook post?
Well, in highly conflicted family systems, when the internal reality is broken, the public image becomes the only currency they have left.
Oh, so it's all about keeping up appearances.
Entirely. The demand for silence, that frantic, let's stop it right now, is thinly disguised as a desire for healing.
Right, he uses the word heal.
But true healing requires transparency and processing. This demand is entirely about controlling the narrative.
So he's doing damage control.
Exactly. The stepdad is terrified that the OP will publicly puncture this carefully crafted, fictionalized image of the peaceful passing and the righteous mother.
Total damage control. And he tries to mask that damage control by playing the ultimate pity card at the end of the text.
Oh, yes.
After the medical threats and the caps lock demands for silence, he writes, I am bawling my eyes out as I write this text, and laments that his wife and best friend is gone from this earth.
Which brings us to the most revealing part of the entire communication.
The postscript.
The PS.
Just after all of that intense, chaotic, supposedly vulnerable emotion, all the crying and pleading, he ends the text with this remarkably cold, clinical PS.
He really gives the game away.
He says, quote, P.S. I will be writing the very same text to your sister.
Just, wow, that single sentence completely destroys the illusion of vulnerability.
Right. Because it's not a personal text at all.
No. The claim of bawling my eyes out is undercut by the revelation that this highly emotional, seemingly personal message is actually a form letter.
A form letter for your dead wife's kids.
Exactly. It is a mass-distributed manifesto of control, copied and pasted to the estranged children to ensure total compliance across the board.
A cut-and-paste guilt trip. It's staggering.
It is.
So, considering the sheer weight of this, after receiving this heavily manicured, deeply manipulative form letter that demands absolute silence, threatens deadly disease, and insists on a sanitized version of grief, how does the OP respond?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Because the way this narrative concludes is just a masterclass in visceral contrast. The OP doesn't argue.
No.
They don't write a furious essay back. They find absolute, unfiltered dark humor in the biological reality of their mother's passing.
The transition from the stepdad's lofty, spiritualized PR campaign to the OP's grounded physical reality is striking.
It's incredible. So the OP notes a specific clinical detail from the text message, that the mother passed away from bowel complications due to the cancer.
Right, the stepdad included that.
Yeah. And the OP then provides us, the listener, with some crucial context. The mother had suffered from Crohn's disease for a long time, and in the OP's words, quote, would pop Imodium like they were Tic Tacs. And then the OP delivers this blunt, triumphant conclusion, they say. She died being full of shit. Karma really did bite her in the ass.
Wow.
I know, right? And they even add this polite little edit to the post, calmly thanking everyone in the forum for their overwhelming support.
It's quite a tonal shift.
It is. And I want you listening right now to think about dark humor here, because I look at that punchline and my first thought is, this is just a defense mechanism, right?
That's a common assumption.
Like the OP is using a crude joke as a shield to avoid actually feeling the pain of the loss.
It is tempting to view it that way.
Yeah.
But looking at the psychology of autonomy, it's actually the exact opposite.
Really?
Yes. It is an offensive maneuver.
How interesting.
This punchline is far more than just a crude joke or an emotional shield. It is the ultimate act of the OP reclaiming their own reality from a family system that is desperate to overwrite it.
Reclaiming it by focusing on the literal biology.
Yes. Think about what the stepdad's text demanded.
Silence. Compliance.
Right. It demanded that the OP accept the mother's moral superiority, accept the threat of illness, and accept the absolute demand for silence to protect the family's fictionalized version of events.
And the OP just says, nope.
Exactly. By focusing on the literal messy irony of her bowel complications, by calling her physically and metaphorically full of shit, the OP decisively, fundamentally, rejects the demand to play along.
It just completely deflates the power structure of the text message.
Completely.
The stepdad is trying to build this towering monument to the mother's legacy, and the OP just kicks the single biological block out from underneath it, and the whole thing collapses.
Because you cannot control someone who finds you ridiculous.
Wow. You cannot control someone who finds you ridiculous.
Right. The stepdad wanted the OP to be burdened by guilt and paralyzed by fear. Instead, the OP looked at the mechanics of the situation, saw the dark absurdity, the manipulation, and laughed.
They laughed.
That laughter is the physical manifestation of the manic freedom they described earlier. It proves that the stepdad's attempt to enforce family homeostasis from beyond the grave completely failed.
Because the OP refuses to participate in the shared delusion.
Exactly.
That completely reframes the idea of the bitter freedom mentioned in the title of the source.
How so?
Well, the bitterness isn't a poison slowly giving them disease, like the stepdad claimed it was. The bitterness or the dark humor is the actual antidote to the manipulation. When someone tries to rewrite your lived experience, pointing out the undeniable physical truth of the situation is a way of anchoring yourself to reality.
Absolutely. The use of dark humor here is the only logical response to a highly illogical manipulative demand.
Yeah.
It signifies that the OP has stepped completely outside the enmeshed family system. They are observing the manipulation as an outsider, which is the true definition of being free from it.
Man, that is so powerful. As we start to pull all of these threads together, let's just look at the incredible journey we've taken through this short piece of writing.
It really is a journey.
We started with the OP's mourning, those initial few tears of biological shock, quickly giving way to the dizzying realization that a lifetime of hypervigilance was finally over.
Dropping the heavy door.
Dropping the door, the anxiety of the grocery store run-ins, the dread of the deathbed summonings, just gone.
We then analyzed the catalyst for that realization, that text message, which served as an artifact of posthumous control.
A masterclass in manipulation.
We saw how a plea for forgiveness was actually a disguised final rejection, and how somatic blaming was weaponized to enforce compliance and induce fear.
We watched a grieving husband act like a panicked crisis manager, desperately begging for social media silence to protect a fragile, fictional family narrative.
And finally, we saw how the OP cut through all of that noise.
Yeah, not with anger, not with a long-winded defense, but with the undeniable dark irony of the mother's biological reality. She died being full of shit.
A crude joke that ultimately served as a profound reclamation of independence.
Definitely.
It is a vital reminder that human emotions rarely fit into the neat boxes that society expects us to use.
They really don't.
Relief can look like grief. A lack of tears doesn't mean a lack of feeling. And sometimes, irreverent humor can be the most profound, healthy expression of freedom a person can achieve.
That is so true. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought. We started by asking you to imagine the feeling of dropping a heavy burden, of no longer having to brace your entire body against that heavy oak door.
Right.
The OP finally let go of that door. But the stepdad's text message, it was a desperate, panicked attempt to make the OP pick that burden right back up.
It really was.
So I want you to mull this over. When a family member begs for absolute silence in the name of healing and normalcy, who is that silence actually protecting?
That's the real question.
Is it protecting the legacy of the person who passed away? Or is it protecting the people left behind who are absolutely terrified of facing the truth? Think about that. Until next time.